Game on the line. Williams lofting one for a doozy. He caught
it! You're listening to the world's #1 football podcast. Now, here are your hosts, Ben Hansen, Matt Hartman, and Ryan Matthews.
All right, how we doing? Just me and Matt, College Corner. Maybe possibly the last college corner of the season. I don't know. Figuring it out. Still workshopping what we're gonna do with this segment. There'll be stuff, but I digress. We got a lot of college football to talk about. A very, very good game and a game that was absolutely a curb stomping, and then previewing the national championship, and then for those who love us so much, a yap session all the way at the end of the show. But before we get into any and all of that, Matt, how are you doing?
Ben, I'm doing fantastic. The portal is rolling for everybody, but most certainly my Texas Longhorns currently. And I mean, we got one more game. So again, you take it for granted with one more game left, and I think we have a fun matchup to break down.
A very, very fun matchup. I mean, I'm excited. Like you said, the transfer portal is transfer portaling, I think is the best way to describe that. But again, I will jump right into it. I think probably the best place to start is obviously by recapping everything that happened in the semifinals. And it just so happens the better game was the game that falls in chronological order. So we'll kind of jump off. We'll talk about I almost said Georgia and Ole Miss there. We'll talk about Miami and Ole Miss to start, and I'll let you pick this one up because I want to start with the next game. So shoot your shot.
Yeah, I think, what was it? The first quarter of the game, you have Miami control the clock for, I think it was almost like, it was over 12 minutes of the first quarter was completely controlled by Miami, but like little things along their drives get in the way, and they only can settle for 3. And then Kwan Lacey happens. Kwan Lacey first play, right? I love when plays always happen out of that like quarter break. You know, they happen after a timeout. These little lulls in action where the crowd is kind of like down. It's kind of like a movie. It's down, and you bring them back up with a big play like that. And ironically, he pulls his hamstring on that play. We don't see him the rest of the quarter. Is he going to go again? There's no like confirmation or anything. Nobody knows anything. And what is it? Miami kind of, they finished the quarter going a little back and forth. Chambliss wasn't great. Chambliss gave some, plays here and there that I think he could have thrown away and instead tried to make things happen, and just inches away from interceptions, but they don't become interceptions. So good on him. But in the end, it's the drive, the back and forth that happens in the final 5 minutes where it finally gets down to it. Miami's down by 3, and they go down and score. And Carson Beck makes the play of his career.
Yeah.
Finally, it's just when he realizes he has green grass and he just goes for it, that's just a moment in time for, Hurricanes fans, because I understand this is a program that was very successful in the early 2000s, but since that Ohio State Fiesta Bowl, ironically, it feels like it's been cursed. It feels like they're never going to be back here. It feels like it's like this is never going to happen. And they finally get it done in a very unlikely way against a very unlikely opponent, but they get it done.
They get it done. No, I mean, when there was I don't know, I think it was 36 seconds or whatever it was left on the clock in the fourth quarter, I genuinely thought Ole Miss in Chambliss was going to pull something off to win that game. I mean, that's a testament to the crazy run that Chambliss has had since, taking the reins of the program, in week 4, 5, 6 or whatever it was. And a quick note on him, I guess the NCAA denied his 6 year of eligibility. So they're doing like the whole Diego Pavia that they're gonna sue the NCAA in Louisiana or Mississippi, sorry.
Yeah.
Sue them in Mississippi rather than Indianapolis, where the headquarters are for the NCAA. Which the hope is, again, everything takes place the way that it did with Diego Pavia, where they're like, that's all the way in Mississippi. We really don't want to do it. Okay, we'll just drop it. So we'll see what happens there. But as you said, it was a great game. Really, the big thing that like stood out to me was just how efficient Miami was able to run with Mark Fletcher. Right, like it was 133 yards on I think it was like 23 carries or something. And he was averaging 6 yards a pop. And that wasn't because he had one explosive run. Like his longest run was 19 yards, but they
Mm-hmm.
were consistently throughout the entire game able to pick up 4, 5, 6 yards on the first down every single time, and Ole Miss really didn't have enough to stop them. That being said, Ole Miss was able to kind of slow them down on second and third down. Miami had they went 11 of 19 on third downs. So they were just like more than efficient on that one. So Ole Miss had the chance. They weren't able to. And then the other big thing that you pointed out in terms of Miami, again, it ended up not mattering because they won this game. But man, there were like 3 interceptions that should be interceptions that like stand out to me. That's like Miami, what are we doing? You guys should have turned the ball over, forced turnovers like 3 like very clear and obvious chances and times, and they just were not able to. Again, end up not mattering. But if you get the chance to do that against the Hoosiers, you're gonna have to take it. But we'll get into that game in a little bit. But anything else on this game, Ole Miss season as a whole? Anything before we move on to the IU Oregon game?
They found something in I'm talking Miami and Keelan Marion. I thought that was somebody that Beck felt like he trusted in the biggest spots. He kept going back to him more so than, Tony, and even Tony has like that awesome breaking tackle on that third down, and then later in the game he has the touchdown where he just like splits like 3 defenders and scores a touchdown on like a 30-yard catch and run. But Marion, for the most part, on those 11 to 15-yard dig routes, when they really needed him on that final drive, he just kept getting open. And Beck, the way that he kind of flowed in the pocket, got to him at the perfect time and kept delivering. So shout out to him. I think they maybe would want to find another pass catcher going into this final game with how CJ Daniels has kind of performed throughout the playoffs.
Yeah, he's hit a little bit of a plateaued. I think is kind of the best way to describe his performance. He's I don't want to say he shied away from the light, but he definitely you would have wanted more based off his regular season going into the postseason and the run that they've been on out of CJ. But it doesn't matter.
And then
Yep.
also, who is it? Was it Xavier Lucas? Yeah, Xavier Lucas. Xavier Lucas
Yes.
now misses the first half of the national championship game because of a targeting call. I don't get why this penalty is just so like it's so enforced. I can understand why it's enforced. It's because the NCAA wants to, when head injuries keep happening, they can say like, well, we tried, we had a penalty. But the fact that one of the more impactful secondary players for Miami now has to miss the first half of the national title game at home kind of blows. Like he was a pretty impactful staple of their portal class last year too. So like he's the reason why you can make the case why they're here. But I never liked that part of the targeting part that the guy's gonna miss.
The fact that it carries over. Yeah, the fact it carries over is
that game's over. That game's over.
Yeah, exactly. You've already been punished. There's no need to carry that on, and that's coming from someone who's like rooting for the Hoosiers. It's stupid. It's dumb. I'm not a big fan of it, but who knows? I doubt there'll be any changes because why would they? It's NCAA. But going on to the absolute kind of beatdown that we saw with IU versus Oregon. really, and I'll start out here. I mean, where else would I start other than Fernando Mendoza? This kid has been on an absolute tear throughout the postseason, given it's only been 2 games. But again, he continues to throw for more touchdown than he does in completions. Throughout again, his 2 game span in the playoffs, he's thrown 5 incompletions to 8 touchdowns. That is just super efficient. He's getting the ball where it needs to go. He is putting the ball in the exact spot. I mean, props to the kid. It is truly something special, and you can't take it for granted. But the big thing, and I'm sure you remember this, that I had concerns about going into this game was how is Indiana going to be able to get after the quarterback? Because exiting the Bama game, that was my big question. It's like we gave Ty Simpson way too much time in the pocket. And it was a big concern of mine. And I'm like, all right, if we sit back, we let Dante Moore just pick us apart. It's going to get ugly. It's going to be bad. But man, they were just after him this entire game. Again, it was only three official sacks, but they were pressuring him. They were making him into stupid throws, fumbling the football, getting after him. It truly was something special. They had this Dante Moore, this poor kid in hell. He had no clue what he was doing, especially in the first half. Again, your opening pass getting returned for a touchdown, which that's something that we'll talk about, I guess, with Indiana, which makes me mad. But it was just utter dominance by this defense. This offense was clicking on all cylinders. This run game continues to look good. You're able to get after the quarterback. Defense is disciplined. They tackle. They swarm. It's everything you would have want. I'm feeling very confident going into this next game. But anything stand out from you on either side of the ball for this game?
Yeah, I mean, Oregon could weather the storm of the first interception. And they did. I mean, they come right out of that and have a 7-play touchdown drive, off of that script that, you don't have to scrap because it's a 1-play interception. And then Indiana scores, and it kind of gets into this weird little lull where they have the Mendoza sack on 3rd down where he fumbles it. That's almost like a swinging play of the game. He instead gets it back. They have to punt inside the 10, and then right away, Deerhill runs into Moore's arm, and it's a fumble, and it's just 5 yards and into the end zone for the best team in the country. You just can't spot the other team 7 points like that in a spot like that. And I think from that point on, I think it just kind of swirled on Moore, just in a way, and swirled on just everybody on the Oregon side of the ball. I think it was just everybody's looking up at the scoreboard, and we can't overcome this. We weren't even down by this much in the first game. So, how are we going to overcome this now? And Indiana was just, all right, 0-0, line up, play ball. Let's go get, 5. Let's hit a chunk play. And what was it? There was a Becker long play touchdown in there somewhere. I think before the half, right? And that was it. That was all she wrote. I think it speaks to the efficiency of the way that they beat you in Indiana. I think they just wear you down, and every mistake is magnified. They will pounce on every single bit of it, because when 14 points in the opening 20 minutes is created on a pick six and a fumble inside the 5, it's hard to come back from that. It's really hard to come back from that, especially for a quarterback who he looks skittish from the moment, from that fumble on. I thought he settled into the first actual Oregon drive well. When he hit Jamari Johnson on that seam ball in the end zone, that's read it out. That's read corner leverage and rip it. And I thought he was strong and confident in that throw, but from after the fumble, it just did not feel like they were in it. They couldn't run the ball. I didn't think they were going to be able to really run the ball without, Davison and Whittington being this will he, won't he. Ended up not. They go to Jay Harris, who Jay Harris is the 6th-string running back, and he's in the portal.
Yeah.
But they just needed bodies, so he came back. Kind of a good audition for him. Thought he was good on the first drive. After that, not really anything. But overall, just They just compress you. They just compress you in a way that old SEC teams used to, with just how much talent, and they do it with experience and efficiency.
Experience and efficiency is the best way. That's a harping point, I guess. Now, the experience of the IU football team. I don't know if you've seen this, but this is I guess a big thing that is now going around. Twitter mainly. I mean, it's like the Twitter
Yeah,
space of people really now complaining that IU has an older roster, mainly pointing to like one specific player in EJ Williams, or wide receiver, who's on his 6th year because he got the COVID year in a red shirt.
yeah.
Um, and people are complaining about him now, which is funny to see, because all season long it was IU's not good enough. They don't have the talent. And it was people were just looking for different ways to discredit this IU team. Now that they're finally good, they're complaining about it. It doesn't make any sense. It hurts my head. I guess that's what happens when you're a good team. Also, allegations that like IU is hacking into like people's cloud servers to get their pregame script, which is one of the most ridiculous things I've ever heard in my entire life. But my alma mater's team is so good that we are getting allegations of cheating. I take that as a win in my book. That is for sure. I think my favorite thing that's come of all of like the IU's old or IU's cheating of it all is Miami fans complaining about how old IU's roster is. Like, are you kidding me? Carson Beck is playing football for your team and was in the same recruiting class as CJ Stroud, who now just completed his 47th NFL game. So miss me with the your team's too old BS. Like, I don't know. It's stupid. It's dumb. My team's that good. People want to find ways to discredit it. But we'll swing on into this matchup if you don't have anything else.
No, I think to your point, I think it just breaks people's brains that Indiana football is good. I think it's just the nature of how things happen. It's just what nobody is subject to change. And so when drastic change, because this is a drastic, outcome of Indiana football, people react dramatically. And so I feel like that's kind of where it's gone. I think they're just a dominant and just I think it's just they are so fixated on football intelligence when they go into the portal. I think that is what overwhelmingly dominates the players that they go and get. I think football intelligence is so key to what they do, because you watch them on defense, they don't do complex things. They just muddy up the picture every once in a while, and they're able to play too high safety at all times because those linebackers fit gaps in the run game, and they're saying, listen, you're going to get a max of 5 here. You're not going to pop a run on us. You're not going to get an explosive here. And if you do, it's going to be a 70-yarder to start the second half when it's already a 28-point game. Like, that was the only Oregon run that was, in theory, a popped run. And so I don't know. I think it's just the breaking of brains that Indiana football is the best football team in the country right now.
Absolutely. It truly has been a treat to watch. Obviously, I can enjoy it, but so many people can too, right? Like the turnaround. I have to imagine the hope that this can bring to many other fan bases across the country. But, again, who knows? We'll get into the championship game. The Hurricanes versus the Hoosiers. IU is favored by 8.5 points in this game. It is the number 1 team in the country versus what would have been the lowest ranked P4 team to make the playoffs, which is like funny that we have found ourselves in this situation. Notre Dame fans are just rolling around in misery because Miami has made it this far. But it truly is going to be a great game. it's a home game for Miami. Like again, it's not like necessarily a home game, but they're playing at their home stadium in Hard Rock.
Yeah, in
Um,
quotations. Yeah.
yeah. But I'm really interested to see how the crowd is in this game because it seems like IU has like pretty handily dominated in terms of fans traveling to these
I think there's going to be more
neutral
IU.
site games. Yeah, I truly think there will be more IU fans because IU fans are going to be like, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. When will we ever get this again? And I think that's going to force a lot of them to come to this game. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm excited. In terms of the Miami side of it, I think there's a really really easy way for them to win this game. It's force the turnovers and capitalize it when they present themselves, unlike you did against Old Miss. Because again, it's going to be fewer and farther between as it was against Old Miss, and then just get the ball to Malachi Tony as much as possible. Like this kid is an absolute playmaker, an absolute stud. And again, I think the main kind of area to watch in this game is going to be IU's run defense versus Miami's run offense. As I said, in this Old Miss game, this Mark Fletcher running attack really allowed them to be in beneficial situations on second and third down. And if they can continue to do that, that's going to be great for them. And if IU can kind of, hold them to, 2 to 3 yards compared to 5 or 6 yards, they're going to put themselves in a beneficial situation when you have to, make Carson Beck actually sit back there and read a defense. I say that saying that like he hasn't had his moment yet. We'll see. We'll see if this is a Carson Beck, that turned over a new leaf, or if he has his moment at some point in this game. But what are you seeing here?
I think this is, again, I'll start with Miami. For Miami, I think the biggest thing is, again, like I've said it how many of these games, it's you need to match the physicality of the front of IU. I think that's and they have the defensive line to say, listen, you have not faced anybody like us. And they have the offensive line to say, you have faced nobody like us. They have this ability in the playoffs specifically to just spam duo. And duo has been a 6-yard pop every time. And that's against Ole Miss and that's against Ohio State. So and even A&M in there. So like those are not quite to the level of what IU has shown on the defensive line, but still pretty good playoff defensive lines, and they've been able to kind of, get chunk gains in the run game. The other part for Miami, I think you said it. I think they have to convert in the red zone. I think, and it starts with Beck. I think because he is a guy who, ironically enough, he's been good against the blitz, but the 4-man pressure stuff, like when the picture is kind of 7 in coverage, make the throw, he kind of doesn't have the arm to do it consistently enough. So I'm interested to see. And IU isn't a team that really spams blitzes. They'll throw pressures at you, obviously, as every team does, but they don't really blitz you. They'll sit back and they'll make Carson Beck try and go 12 plays. Ole Miss did it last game, and there was a drive in there where he threw a tipped interception. Get your hands up. And so you could create one of those turnovers. I think it comes down for Miami to just be able to, again, they have to be uber efficient on third down again. There can't be these like 3 and outs inside our own 40-yard line. They got to sustain drives and they got to control time of possession, because this Indiana team, even if Miami's defense is really good, and I do think it's really good, they can get up and down on anybody. It doesn't matter who it is. I think the quarterback is just that talented and that good right now that Surratt could box out any of these corners and I wouldn't be surprised. And Becker can run step for step with any of these corners. He reads leverage so well. Like in this RPO stuff, that like him being able to read inside outside leverage and know when to just release it. It's the difference between a 4-yard run and an 8-yard catch. Like it's so simple, so subtle, but they're always just moving, that I think Indiana's going to score on anybody. The biggest thing for Miami is can they just limit the possessions and can they keep scoring and not have a game where Oregon had or Alabama had, where Alabama has the turnover right before half and it turns into 7 points and all of a sudden they're down 17-0. The same thing with Dante Moore, where it's like threw pick six and oopsies, dropped the ball again. I'm just interested to see how it looks.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's. I'm just very excited. It's
Yeah.
very hard for me to obviously contain it. I mean, I'm almost as excited as I was in 2023. But no, I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head there, especially talking about the Hoosiers, right? Is how efficient that Fernando Mendoza has been, and you mentioned the RPO stuff, and really the reason that they are so successful within the RPO stuff is because the running game is very, very good, very efficient. Kalen Black was averaging 5.3 yards a carry. Roman Hemby, we've talked about him enough at this point throughout the show. Both very, very, very good guys. So if they can establish a run and leads into the RPO stuff, and then hopefully, everything is clicking on the IU side of it. I'm really excited. I think this is a very, very, very unique line. I know it's, as you mentioned kind of before we had started the show, what the line ended up being last year. I know it didn't start at 8.5, but I absolutely hate the 8.5 line. It's a 3 field goal game. We hate the non-football numbers, especially when betting on the spread and everything. I'm not going to touch the spread in this game because I do not care. I'm just going to take Hoosiers to win. I'm going to celebrate. It's going to be amazing.
I also want to point, like, how does Heatherman deploy Bain to kind of put him in spots to make plays? Because again, I think that's going to be the big thing for IU all week is like we can pick on the back seven. It's fine, like it's good, but it's not these front four guys. I wonder how they deploy him if he's going to play exclusive on the edge, if he's going to line up over a guard here and there on third and pass, because listen, Mendoza takes some sacks. Mendoza gets a little tricky with the football here and there, man. So again, like that's the ways that you got to kind of convert these things is you got to get their head spinning, And it's happened. That's the thing too with IU that like their head was spinning against Penn State in that fourth quarter. And then they kind of rally behind it. They had the sack on that first down in that game, that drive. And so like you just got to get them spinning at the right time and kind of just condense on them. It's hard to do. It's why they're undefeated. It's why they're 15-0 and in this spot, but it's not impossible, especially for this Miami front to figure it out.
No.
With that said, I'm going to take IU. I'm going to take Indiana. I'm going to take the points as well. I just think this team is better than 10 points than Miami. I do believe in the quarterback battle of Mendoza being that much higher of a tier. I think he's just playing at an unreal level right now. And I'm not going to bet against him. I'm not going to bet against this team, and I'm not going to bet against what has gotten them here, and that is just the overall efficiency of the matter, where Miami has been good, but I believe they've had a turnover in every playoff game so far. Mm-hmm. So again, if those turn into 7 points in the first half for IU, there you go. Like you're already playing at a deficit.
Absolutely. And to touch on your point, like you said, in terms of getting after like Fernando Mendoza and kind of having his head spin, again, it ended up being perfectly fine, not hurting Indiana at all. But Mendoza did fumble the ball twice. Again, they recovered them both times.
Yes.
Whereas both times that Dante Moore fumbled it, they lost it. But as you said, I mean, Mendoza is not prone, or like Mendoza is prone to having kind of, I guess brain farts, kind of the best way I can describe it, where, he's getting a little bit too big for his bridges there and maybe doesn't pull something off. And this is truly not the front to do that against. Again,
Well, and that's
I
the
feel
thing
like
too is they both happened when he's making a play. Like one of them was on that big scramble, and one of them is
Mhm.
on that third down when he's just trying to escape the pocket to get rid of it. So again, these aren't like, oh man, the tackle just beat him around the edge and got to his arm. Like, oh my goodness, what a play. It was because it was self-forced in a sense where he's trying to get into creation mode and is just a step behind. So again, like he's going to give you these opportunities to do it. It's just you got to take advantage.
Yeah, you got to capitalize on it. When the opportunity presents itself. Fernando, please limit how often you present that opportunity to this Miami front, because it could get out of hand. I don't think it will be, but it could. That's again Miami's kind of keys to victory in this game. But I'm glad you're riding the Hoosiers with me. It'll be a fun time. Rumors has it they might cancel class on Tuesday here in Bloomington, as they should. Absolutely,
Yeah.
we'll see. But yes, this game is getting played on Monday, 7:30. As we said, Miami. We'll see. It's the last game. My heart kind of breaks knowing that we only have one more of these left. But then we truly get into to our kind of bread and butter of the off season. But again, enjoy it for what it is, whether you're a Hurricane fan, a Hoosier fan, or the rest of the country. I know most of the country is behind the Hoosiers, which we love to see. But just enjoy it, soak it all in, and we'll see you guys in 365 days for the next championship game here. Now this is kind of when we switch on over to the Yap session. Do you have anything else before we do that?
No, I don't.
Okay, well, perfect. We'll switch on over to again Portal Talk slash just yapping. Um, in terms of like big things within the portal, um, we'll kind of start off where we did this time last week. For those who can recall, 7 days ago, right as we hit record for this podcast here, Damon William had entered the transfer portal after signing a like $4 million contract with Washington. There's a whole saga. Well, maybe he goes LSU and Washington in the Big Ten are gonna just sue this kid into the ground. And then as of like I think it was 2 or 3 days ago, he's like, "Oh, just kidding. I'm actually gonna return to Washington." After the fact that his agent like released him, like we're no longer representing you. That was your decision, buddy. But like that has to be hard, right? Like to win back the trust of both the coaching staff, but then the guys that you were like going out and playing football with each and every week to be like, no, you were going to leave us to get an extra $1 million at LSU, and the only reason you're back is because we were going to sue you. Like I feel like that is going to add kind of this big elephant into the locker room. And I don't know how one kind of enters back in that situation. It'll be interesting to see the team dynamic. Any thoughts on that situation?
I don't know. I think maybe it's a little maybe I'm underselling a little bit. If he's there for all the spring stuff and he's thrown to these guys, I don't think it's going to be that big of a like just this chemistry problem kind of thing. I just think he was approached with this can't miss offer and thought there was a way to kind of get around it as anything is, like we see Kenny Minchie, we see Hollywood Smothers being able to flip
We'll
commitments.
get into
a-
that.
And so like I think there was a world where I that was plausible in his mind and then you realize, well, you kind of signed it. Like you can't really do that except you could. Xavier Lucas, ironically enough, did the same thing with Wisconsin last year. He signed a deal with Wisconsin. Wisconsin refused to put him in the portal, and so he said, "All right, fine. Then we'll go over. I'll enroll. I'll unenroll as a student at Wisconsin and enroll as a student at Miami." And he's playing for Miami right now. So again, like if there was a world where Damon Williams wanted to be an LSU Tiger for $6 million, he was going to be. But again, I think when it comes down to it, And that's the other thing is like, oh, you want to get into a lawsuit with the NCAA? Yeah, go ahead. Like the NCAA is it's not great at these, man. They're not,
No.
especially in this portal era. So again, if there was ever a time to keep picking at him, like I think he probably would have been able to get through and played for LSU next year. But I think just over the course of the few hours, I think he had that come to Jesus moment where it's like, am I really gonna do this? Like this is a forever place to me, you know? So again, this is a rare kid who got to sit and stayed. Like you don't see a lot of players sitting that redshirt season and staying. And he did, and then he played this season and they weren't great. You know, they had the loss to Wisconsin that I think was the most memorable thing of the Washington season. But they were a good football team because of him. And I think just continuing to build with Coach Fish, I think that was just a full circle, think about it moment. And I think he made the right decision.
No, I definitely think he made the right decision. Again, where I think he probably, if not already at that point, where I think he probably realized like, oh, I might have made a bad decision, is when his agent was like, we're not representing you anymore. This isn't a good idea, which was funny to see like the press statement with all that. But as you said, I think he ends up taking or making the best decision for himself. And all's well that ends well with LSU. They're able to land Sam Levitt. I didn't see the exact money that he ends up getting. I imagine it is a boatload of money.
It's
In
close
other
to Sorsby.
Yeah, well, that makes sense. Let's see. Actually, let me see if we can find it. The other quarterbacks have found their homes here as well. DJ Lagway, Matt was correct, and also it's $3.1 million for Sam Levitt is what is being reported right now. Again, it's really weird in terms of revenue splitting and finding marketing deals. 3.1's the reported amount. But Matt was right. DJ Lagway, he's a Baylor Bear. That was a weird like thing that had happened that like he committed to Baylor, but then like he was also like reported in terms of like visiting other schools, but then he went on
Going to Ole
Twitter.
Miss. He was going to Ole
Yeah.
Miss.
And then he went on Twitter and was like, what are you guys talking about? I am not doing that. I am a Baylor Bear. So there we are. Speaking
And everybody
of
kept
Ole Miss.
saying, everybody kept going, sign the deal then. And he kept going, ah. You got me. You got
me. Speaking of Ole Miss gets their guy in Deuce Knight. Not the program that I would have thought he went to, but like, love it. I love it. I think it's going to be fantastic, especially if he can sit behind Chambliss for a year. I mean, he has to know that going into it that like he's not going to start right away.
Well, no, but like that's the thing is he doesn't. Nobody does.
I guess no. In theory, no one does, but it seems like Chambliss.
I'm interested that he picked Ole Miss. I really am because I think again you just don't see a lot of kids wait their turn. He's already used his red shirt. I'd be interested to see him waiting around a second time for another like kind of we don't know what the Pete Golding era kind of represents at Ole Miss yet. So again, I'm not saying like they're going to go 5-7 like you did, but I'm not saying they're going to be in the playoff again. So
yeah,
again, I was really interested that he went there.
Yeah, we'll see. History will tell you that Chambliss will get his 6th year. But again, you never know. The Deuce Knight signing of it all, too. It's interesting. Yeah. It has the antennas up for sure. Speaking of another high-profile quarterback that might be sitting for a year, might not be sitting for a year. We don't know.
This one I'm more confident in.
This one, I'm more confident in this one. Dylan Raiola is committed and transferred to Oregon. Which he like has publicly came out and said like if I have to sit behind Dante Moore for a year, I will sit behind Dante Moore for the year. I want to be a Duck. That being said, I think we're both pretty confident that even despite, a bad final game against Indiana, that Dante Moore is going to come out. It's
Yep.
really, really hard to pass up on being the second overall pick. Like, it doesn't get much better unless you think you can come back and put together a better year and be like, no, I'm going to be the number one overall pick, which is like, I don't know. We're crunching numbers here. It doesn't make much sense. I've always been in the boat that Dante Moore should come back. And it sounds like you're in, or not come back, should go out, shouldn't come back. And it sounds like you're in that same boat then.
Yeah, I think he's clearing away the quarterback 2 of this draft class, and I wouldn't pass that up for another year of whatever Oregon football is. You just never know. You never know what is going to present itself. You never know the wear and tear you're going to put on yourself. I don't think there's anybody. There's nobody. There's the starts thing is the most overrated thing I've ever seen. And I know everybody keeps saying that. It's like, well, go back to school and develop more. And it's like, I've watched Carson Beck play 50 games. Like, what is that? What do you mean? Like, why am I going back to school in a primarily, like, bubble screen, get the ball out offense? What am I going to develop that is going to translate to the NFL level? That I played more? Like, that's my thing that I never get. I watched Anthony Richardson a few years ago, and you can revisionist history and say, well, Anthony Richardson sucked, dude. So, again, I don't care. I saw 13 games of him, and I was convinced, yeah, that's a top 5 pick. And he went, and he was a top 5 pick. And I get it. It's because he is just traitsed out of his mind. Every tool that you could possibly have. The arm, the size, the athleticism, everything. He had every bit of it, and Dante Moore doesn't have that. But this also isn't a draft class that has anybody else outside of Mendoza. And there's a lot of people with questions on Mendoza. Oh my God, Ty Simpson probably doesn't go in the top 50. But hey, who knows? But like, I just think it is such a clear and obvious decision for him to make.
Yes.
There is so much question mark for so many teams at quarterback. I think the floor would be Miami at 11. Like, yeah. I think there's like 4 teams that if they passed over a quarterback in the top 10 picks, you go, wait, what the hell are we doing? Like, what are you talking about? So it's like, I think he absolutely needs to go into the draft. And I think, speaking from, let's spin into the Raiola thing, I think this is an awesome fit for Raiola. I think he holds the ball a little too long for my liking.
A little.
But if you're able, in this offense, they are predicated on get the ball out, short accuracy, and kind of those quick release motions. He has all of those things. You just need to coach in, get it into his mental, getting the ball out. And you're going to have a better offensive line than Nebraska. So that is going to factor into his decision-making. And the other thing is, I think this is a kid that wants to go to the NFL. And I think he was under the belief when if I want to get to the NFL, I got to play right away. So I'm going to bypass Georgia. I'm going to go to Nebraska. I'm going to play at Nebraska. And over the course of it, it's Nebraska kind of let him do whatever he wanted. I don't think Lanning's going to let him do whatever he wants. And I think that's good. I think this is a kid who needs hard coaching. And not really like the just like rah, I'm going to yell at you all the time coaching, but just like, you need to point me on a direct path. I don't think Matt Rule is that kind of coach. I think Matt Rule is his own little flavor, and I don't think he's really good at it. But I think for Raiola specifically, to get back to the point, I think this is a good fit for him. I think he knows he's going to play. And that's why he made the decision at Oregon. And also because if he wants to get to the NFL, nobody's got a better transfer record than, hey, we put Bo Nix in the first round. Hey, we put Dylan Gabriel in the top 100 picks. And oh, hey, we just put Dante Moore in the top 10. It's an easy sell. Even with new offensive coordinators, it's still rooted in the same system.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I mean, I think you touched on it great. I'm excited to see what he does in the Oregon offense. Again, he is not what he was chalked out to be coming out of high school. Everyone's like, he's going to be an Xavier. and he definitely has a lot of growing to do. But I think this is, as you covered, I think this will be a good system for him to learn into. About this time tomorrow, we'll know if Dylan Raiola will be sitting for a year or not. The deadline to like declare for the draft is the 14th. Your guys for Indiana and Miami have, I think it's until the 26th. They have like an extra week or extra couple of days to make that decision because the national championship and the focus is obviously playing. But you'll get your last bit of guys, your underclassmen declaring for the draft here within the next 24-ish hours if you guys are watching live here. But those are big quarterbacks. That being said, I know you have been eagerly awaiting it for basically 2 weeks now, about 10 days. Texas was like really just decimated by the portal in terms of like guys just like leaving. And we're like kind of twiddling our thumbs, like when is Texas going to make the move? And they've had a very eventful, like past 3-4 days in terms of getting both Hollywood Smothers, the NC State running back, and Raheem Brown, the ASU running back, which creates one of the most dynamic, if not the most dynamic backfield in the entire country. Getting the number one wide receiver in the portal, which I'm sure you jumped out of your seat when you saw that notification, and Cam Coleman, and then the number one linebacker in the portal, Rasheem Biles, the all conference linebacker out of Pitt. Texas had a very, very, very good week. Your thoughts on that? I'm sure you're over the moon about it.
The campaign for playing in this game a year from now starts now. I mean, this is pushing the chips in the middle of the table on the best quarterback in the country. That's the bet they're making. And they think filling out all the other pieces to making him the best quarterback in the country is going to get them over the top. And, hey, Cam Coleman's a hell of a piece. I mean, that guy is... We talked about it over the summer, man. Like, when he was still a true freshman, that, like, this... Don't sleep on this guy. This guy's pretty good. And, like, if Jackson Arnold's going to work out, it's because this guy's awesome. And Jackson Arnold didn't work out, but that guy was still awesome. So
that guy's still awesome.
You get to this point, I think Texas wasn't the biggest offer on the table. That's the rumor out there, is that Tech was willing to spend more, and I was interested in that. I was interested in that piece of it, that if is Cam Coleman looking to sign the biggest check, and in the end, I think listen, Texas is paying him good money. Like, I don't want that also to be like they got him on a hometown discount kind of thing. No, he's getting paid like in the $3 million is the rumor. It's a lot for a receiver. It's a big bet. But he is one of those players that they just don't come around in the portal often. Outside of the quarterbacks, he's the number one player in the class. If you factor in the quarterback valuation, because they're so important, he's not going to be the number one player. But just from every other position, he's the best player in the class. And for Texas to get that, and then at the same time swing Hollywood Smothers, that was one of those things where it was like it kind of just happened. Happened where it's like, hey, he's not signed. He's looking around. We're interested in that. We never got to host a visit. Let's host a visit. See what happens. And kid loved Austin. How could you blame him? And compensation got worked out, and it's that easy. Sometimes it's that easy. And
I don't know if easy is the term to describe with that. For those who don't know what he's referring to, he Hollywood Smothers committed to Alabama and enrolled in classes at Alabama, but Texas took the advantage. They saw that he didn't sign. Like, hey, you might have been enrolled in classes, you might have committed, but we're gonna pull a Kenny Minchie on you. And like, we noticed you didn't sign. Come here. Check out Austin. See how awesome it is. You just saw this Longhorns basketball team beat Alabama when they shouldn't have. Now come see how awesome this town is. As you said, they pounced on it, and it worked out in their favor.
Yeah, and I mean there's what is it? The rumor with Coleman is like, you saw two pretty major receivers leave this room. Parker Livingston and DeAndre Moore left this receiver room. to make room and to make capital for Cam Coleman. That's what happened. Like, I'm not going to like shy away from it or hide from that fact because it is true. Like, they pushed some guys out here and there. They gave them a valuation and said, if we're going to rather pay two guys, we're going to spend on one big fish in Cam Coleman. And they got it. And then to the other side of the ball, they view Rasheem Biles as like the Cam Coleman of the defense for this class.
They should.
Like, he, again, all ACC linebacker, had an incredible, finish to the season, over 100 tackles, all the stats you could read, but just what he's able to do as an attacking downhill player specifically.
Ugh.
Pittsburgh blitzes a lot, and so there's a lot tasked in that. With the new Muschamp defense, there's a lot of running and hitting. There's a lot of downhill actions for those backers. He wants kind of, those lighter-ish bodies to run and hit people. Rasheem Biles fits that to a T. He is a perfect player for this system. It's why I mentioned him. I knew there was rumor of Texas getting involved last week, and they closed the deal. That was awesome because that was a player that you watch him and it's like, man, can't really miss on that guy. And then, you mentioned the running backs. Of course, they make the decision on Hollywood Smothers. That means Christian Clark, the Citrus Bowl hero, he is going to kind of ship out. Makes sense, as all things happen. It's just Texas is kind of whittling down. Instead of using the allotted all 100 scholarships, they're treating it like the NFL. They're treating it like we have 70 on payroll players who can play. We're no longer in this business unless it's like overwhelming talent to spend on players out of high school that are just going to not sit and not develop until year 3, year 4? Like, they're just not going to do that anymore. It seems that is the new shift in Austin. So I'm interested to see how that trend continues. I wonder if they're going to use this season as an example to kind of, well, if this works, if this season works, we're going to keep going down that route. But yeah, I'm over the moon. They have the number 2 class according to 247, behind only LSU. LSU has double the amount of recruits, committed as Texas does. So again, it's about getting the major players rather than the quantity. And you think about the teams like around them, LSU new coach, Penn State's 3rd new coach, Oklahoma State's 4th new coach, Ole Miss new coach, Kentucky new coach, and then you get to A&M, Ohio State, Texas Tech, Indiana. So again, like, of the team, like, those are the quantity schools. Of the quality schools, Texas is at the top right now of getting quality talent out of the portal, and that's all I wanted to see.
No. I mean, it worked out in your favor. I think that offers kind of a bigger conversation that a shift that we're going to kind of see in the sport now in terms of, like, there are a lot of guys. Michigan's a great example. I'm sure that there are examples across the country of it. Obviously, I follow Michigan more than others, that we're going to see now in terms of how teams are going to allocate, their spending, their revenue, their NIL money. Because previously, again, like these GMs of college teams were talking to NFL GMs, and they were trying to allocate the resources in the way that an NFL team would do. But now we're seeing this shift within college football where you have these redshirt, freshmen that didn't play at all, and they're now seeing these recruits that are coming in that are getting tossed $800,000, and these redshirt freshmen who, again, didn't play a lick, were like, I know I didn't play. I think I am better than him. Give me more money or I will go somewhere else that will give me the money that I want. So, yeah, you paid me $600,000, but this freshman that you're bringing in, you just paid $800,000 to. And I think I am better than him. So at least pay me $8,000. And a lot of these schools are saying, no, F off. You didn't do anything. You sat on our bench for a year. We're not going to pay you. And that's why we're seeing a lot of like these redshirt freshmen more than we've seen, prior leave because of financial value, I guess. And it's creating like this weird paradigm or shift within the sport, which I'm interested to see in 4 or 5 years how that ends up like actually impacting how it is, because it's just an ever evolving situation with NIL.
Well, and it's that double edged sword too, where it's like you're not going to pay me because of production. You're going to pay me, or not going to pay me because of lack of production, I should say. Well, I'm
Mm,
not playing. How can I get production? Like, so it's that double edged sword of like, fine, I'm just gonna burn this bridge. I'm gonna be done with it, and I'm gonna go find somewhere out where I'm gonna play. And then the other part of it that I think is kind of even like more to scale that like I just don't think people talk about is like how much these agents get off these kids' contracts. They are ragging these kids, and it's bad, man. Like when you think about the NFL and like the NBA, I think the max like an agent can make off like a specific deal is in like the 4 to 5
yeah,
percent. College, there's no rules,
it's
so
unregulated.
it could be like there's rumors that it could be in the 15, it could be 20%, like it could be a massive number, and these kids are just pumped to be getting paid at 19 years old, that it doesn't matter, like this is just the business, I'm gonna get to play, I'm gonna get money, like that's sweet, kind of vibe where that's why when you keep seeing like, oh, there's 5,000 names in the portal, it's because for agents there is a major incentive to put as many of your players in the portal
Yeah,
because they're going to find a deal, and you're going to make money. You're going to make a rich percentage. And so until that stuff gets figured out, I think we're going to keep seeing these portal things. We're going to see guys like, I mean, nobody's ever going to be TJ Finley ever again. Shout out Incarnate
that's what
Word,
I,
by the
I
way.
wanted to talk about.
But
That seven
we're
school.
we're not going to see 7 schools. But with this new, also hitting on the new redshirt rule where if you could play 9 games and still get redshirted,
We'll see if it passes.
I think it'll with it
The,
being
the
unanimous for the
coaches,
coaches,
yeah,
I think I think that'll pass. But we are going to see guys who are pretty impactful, good players, 5 teams, 5 years, and there's not really a way right now to stop it unless you kind of put a hammer down, and there's nobody to put a hammer down. So again, until I see it happen, I'm just going to this is the way college football is going to be for a little bit, and you kind of just got to adapt to it instead of being the same old guy where it's like shaking your hands in the air going like I can't believe they're doing this. I can't believe it. You just got to adapt to it. Like
yeah.
this is what it is right now, and you cannot like it, but it's the way college football kind of operates right now.
Yeah. We'll see. I mean, I have to. I've said it so much. I have to expect that over the course of the next couple of years, there'll be more regulation that puts in place, or that goes into place, just because it's again, it's very highly unregulated at this point. I can't imagine that after all of this craziness, it's going to continue to be that way. So again, only time will tell. Just by the way, the last time I had checked the portal, I think it was 800 or 8,226 players entered the portal. It's sad to think that like there are many kids who have entered the transfer portal will not be picked up. Because they were fed some kind of BS to enter the transfer portal, and they have never, will never play football again. But again, we'll see that the number will
You can still
obviously go
like
down.
you'll still get a ton of walk-ons. Like walk-ons will still exist, but I get your
Yeah,
point of that where it's like you're fed this like, hey, you'll fetch this X amount. Like DeAndre Moore for Texas. The reason it took him so long, like he committed to Colorado today. He's been in the
yeah,
portal for like he's taken visits to like 5 different teams. None of them, and maybe Colorado did, but none of them met his asking price. So
yeah,
one of them was Ohio State, who was really interested, and they didn't meet it. Like, again, it's just you could be fed something of like you're worth this much. Look at your production. And then you go out and you test a market and you go, oh, I'm not. Like it's interesting.
hmm
It just is what it is.
It is what it is. Yeah, really quickly. Did you see that Eli Holston is now Virginia, left Pitt as he probably should. Now is it Virginia? That just happened. That's fun.
He went
But
there?
yeah, he's at Virginia now. So good for Eli. We'll
So
see. I
wait,
hope for him.
am I crazy? Didn't Bo go there?
Did he?
So wait, so they have Probula and they now have Holstein. Okay. Interesting. Again,
Oh,
give
Bo
yourself
did go there.
options.
Oh, that'll be fun. That'll be options. That'll be
Yeah,
a fun little quarterback battle.
because it was like Probula is going to go to Tech because of the Franklin, connection. And then Grunkemeyer hit the portal, and it was like, actually, we're gonna take Grunkemeyer, and so he pivoted to Virginia. So interesting. Holstein's an interesting player. I think been around
I
for a little
hope
bit,
for him.
played some good football his freshman year, but
Yeah.
those are two different kind of players. So
Yeah,
it's interesting.
very different. It'll be interesting. And then two players before we round it. We don't have to round out if we don't want to. But two players I want to make sure we at least talk about entered the transfer portal. Jordan Seaton, seems like there might be
Yeah.
some tampering going on there. We'll see. The very, very good tackle out of Colorado. We'll see where he ends up. And then Justice Haynes. It seems as it went on with Michigan, especially after they signed Jordan Tatum, that like there was just not going to be a spot for him, and like Michigan was not going to pay him what he wanted. The reported price that like almost immediate, and again, Haynes is still out there and hasn't signed or committed with anyone, but almost immediately it was like reported that Georgia Tech offered him like $2.6 million. Like, I love you, Justice, but like, get your bag. I don't want Michigan to pay that. That's an egregious asking price. That would be the most of any of the running backs. But those are like the two big names that have entered the transfer portal. Again, these guys have until tomorrow to enter, or not tomorrow, the 16th to enter. That doesn't mean like they can have all summer. They can wait until spring ball. But again, they have until the 16th to actually put their name in the portal to see if they're going anywhere. But the Seaton stuff is weird because the more you look into it, the more it's like there might be tampering going on there, and you were kind of the first one who had brought that up.
Yeah, I'm not surprised by that one. Again, there's two teams who are looking to compete for titles who would kind of like, again, Texas is one of them, Oregon is the other. Those are the two big names that I think everybody is keeping an eye on of, is there a tamper? He is still not officially entered into the portal. Like, his name is not, it could be on a website, but it's not officially in the transfer portal database. So again, he has 48 hours to kind of comply. I think he's kind of reaching out, saying, "Hey, does anybody have the $2.5 million that I'm looking for?" And maybe somebody does, maybe somebody doesn't. But that's been the big rumor, is that somebody is kind of putting him in there, and we'll see a do not contact tag in the coming days if he does officially enter.
Yeah.
My big thing, again, the Desir twins for Florida State
Florida
have been
State.
sitting out there forever. I don't
Yeah.
know what's going on there. They were a big win for Norvell a year ago, and so for them to leave a year later after he's had the season from hell that he did, no, not season from hell. I guess the 2-10 is the season from hell, but you get what I'm saying. Like, still missing a bowl game is a big deal, but losing those
Do you
guys
think
who
they
are
stay
like,
together?
I think that's the idea. I think it's similar to the branches when they went to Georgia last year. I think there is a package deal of it all, but yeah, I'm interested to see if Florida State is still monitoring that. I'm interested to see where they go. Again, Damon Wilson has sat in the portal for a while now, so that one
Dylan
is
Edwards is
just
still floating out there.
Dylan Edwards is still out there.
Bro.
Good shout. But yeah, the biggest thing is I think we've seen all the major dominoes. I'm interested to see where Hudson Longstreet goes. Again, he was the USC freshman, and I think he got a whiff of bad intel. I think he got a bad whiff of intel that he would start somewhere in the SEC, and he's not going to start somewhere in the SEC. That's all I'm going to say. And then I guess we had just all eyes on Seton, really. I think that's, at this point, I think that's the last big fish to kind of flow. I think all the major names have entered the portal, to be honest with you, because, again, you can't schedule visits now. That's why the Seton thing is really interesting. That's why there is that thought of tampering, is because this week, the Monday through Wednesday, you cannot visit anybody, and it closes like Friday midnight, or like Thursday into Friday midnight. So you can't schedule visits. You cannot host anybody on your campus this week. So that's why seeing like Seton hit the portal when he did, it's like, well, connect the dots. Somebody's got intel. Somebody's got the funds. Somebody swung and missed, or somebody's trying to keep overloading their roster, and he's playing at Colorado, who could win 3 games. So again, like it's just interesting.
Which makes sense. Yeah. In terms of the Texas of it all for him, Gooseby is coming back, right? Like he
Yes,
officially
Gooseby
like,
has already announced he's coming back. Yeah,
I thought so.
and
Interesting.
that's a big thing in Texas circles, where it's like, who's going to play left tackle? Who's going to switch over to right tackle? And it's kind of like, would you rather, instead of like, forget the like who's going to play left and right, I think you would just rather figure out you have 2 top 32 draft pick
very
tackles,
good tackles. Yeah.
and then figure it out, because this is a team that everybody's hyper fixating on the offensive line, and it, again, like, things keep coming down the pike. Like Nick Brooks is entering the portal for them. Again, like there's not a, it was not a big great swing for the offensive line for Texas. So again, that's why I think that the Seton thing has legs.
Yeah, we'll see. Again, him and Haynes. I'm gonna throw Haynes in there again. Last 2 big ones left. We'll see what happens. Kind of the last just thing in general. Marcus Freeman. I think people are putting way too much stock into this whole Marcus Freeman stuff. Those who don't know, I'm not referring to the wrestling thing. Guess he got in a fight with a wrestling coach because something happened with the son. I don't know.
That video was nothing. That video was a nothing burger.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. I don't know. We're not here to talk about that. What we are here for is talking about the possibility of him going to the NFL. Again, this is kind of crossing that bridge over into the NFL side of it. Watch tomorrow. But with Tomlin leaving, and I guess it was reported that Freeman had kind of spent a lot of time over the last couple of weeks just in the Ravens facility. That like, oh, he might go somewhere, like who knows? And then it's easier for everyone to be like, no, Marcus Freeman's gonna stay, nothing's gonna happen. But then it was reported that like he's speaking to the media tomorrow. This will be the first time he's obviously speaking to the media tomorrow since everything had went down since the end of their season. A lot of people are speculating whether or not Marcus Freeman is speaking to the media to let them know that he is taking an NFL job. Your thoughts? I tend to think it's a whole lot of nothing. A lot of people are saying, well, it's the Steelers. Well, the Steelers, like, the Mike Tomlin stuff happened today. You think in a matter of 24 hours, they went out after their coach is leaving them and already found their new head coach without vetting anyone else? And that's a load of BS. I don't know what this is about. But did you put any stock into any of the speculation on Twitter with Marcus Freeman?
No, I didn't. Because the first part the thing about the NFL thing, it was like, Rappaport was like, the NFL decision makers are just ignoring his announcement to go back to Notre Dame. Okay. Like, what does that mean? I'm just ignoring it. I'm going to go back to work here. Oh, I don't care. All right, I'm going to interview. What? That's not how this works. Like, I think I think if he wants to become an NFL head coach within the next 5 years, he will. But again, yeah. I don't think there's a reason to leave Notre Dame at this point, especially when the Notre Dame fan base is probably the hottest it's going to be. Like, I think you can continue to be that stabilizing force of, like, you know, I'm here. We continue to put together good classes. We still have a good quarterback and all these things. And hey, look at our awesome schedule next year. That's the other part of this. Like,
No, they played their schedule so tough.
he's not going to leave with that schedule coming up. All right. And again, like
I didn't mean to do that. Sorry.
I just don't think that. I don't think these jobs are awesome enough. I think the job last year was awesome enough for him, being the Bears,
Yeah.
because he was drafted there. They have an awesome quarterback, and all of the dots could be connected pretty. Yeah, he's going to go to the Giants. He's going to go to the Giants while, their owner is having health struggles, so that puts more on his plate, A. And B, like, they kind of have a quarterback. They kind of have,
we know how you feel.
they kind of have a team together. It's not like, they're picking in the top 5 again for the, 5th straight year. Oh, wait, they are. So it's, again, there's going to be a better job. If he wants to wait on this, he does not have to come out into this cycle. I think coaches really want to get him involved because they don't like this cycle. And just make him say no. Make him say no. I think that's going to continue to be what it is.
I mean, that's what we've heard all throughout these college openings is make him say no. I don't think it's a whole lot of anything. We'll see. We'll know tomorrow. So again, I think it's a whole lot of nothing. In terms of the NFL coaching side of it, if you guys want to know more of our opinions on that, make sure you guys watch the NFL show. That is every Wednesday at 9:30-ish Eastern time. Make sure you guys stay tuned, watch that. But and anything else for our beautiful, lovely listeners before we let them go for maybe what is the last possible college corner of the year?
Enjoy the national championship. Again, if you're a college football fan, you'll enjoy it. I think there's a way to root for either team, root for either story. I think the Carson Beck redemption or the Indiana Hoosiers kind of breakthrough. I think either one is a fascinating story that one of these teams is going to win, and it's going to be and even Cristobal. Like Cristobal being able to, a year ago, he was kind of just this meme of beat Syracuse, dude. And then he's in the national championship at home.
Louisville, dude.
It's a pretty cool full circle moment for that program that was so dominant before we were even alive, right before. But again, the lore of the U, and so I think this is a great game to just enjoy, and it has the star player, it has the NFL draft picks that you want to follow. Again, Keontae Scott, shout out, that's my guy. And then stay tuned for scouting. Scouting either if it's on Wednesdays or it's on Thursdays. I can tell you right now, it's not going to be on Tuesdays. But no, stay tuned for that because I think that you mentioned it throughout the show where it's that's another thing that we could just tap into that we're pretty good at. So excited for that.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Regardless of the format, we will put out some kind of recap to the national championship and one final last college show to kind of maybe recap the season, recap the game, discuss the through lines and everything, whether that's Monday after the game, whether that's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, whatever. There will be one more college centric show. We will keep you guys updated on the social medias as always about what that happens. As you said, it's enjoy it. It's going to be fun. It'll be a very, very fun national championship, not a matchup I think literally anyone predicted. Maybe outside of one guy, I saw a video of a dude who got it literally 100% correct, which props to you, dude.
Yeah, what the hell is that about? That was insane.
That was crazy. And when I first saw it, I'm he's making the video now after the fact. I'm oh, actually no, it was dated back to 4 weeks ago, and you're whoa. But
this guy's good.
This guy's good. Hopefully, he put a lot of money on it. But yeah, it's been a fun ride. Enjoy the national championship. Make sure you guys tune in tomorrow for the preview show. A lot of stuff happening within the NFL side. One round deeper into their football playoffs. And, as always, we will see you guys at some point. Hopefully that is tomorrow. You guys take care. Yeah. Okay. Thank you to our sponsors, Regional Radio Sports, Spotify for podcasters, and Uppercuts Grooming. And we will see you guys when we see you guys.